What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pub Sports Radio and welcome to the Draftkings Picks and Prediction Show. This week, we are breaking down UFC Vegas 82. We got Brendan Allen going against Paul Craig, a 14-fight card, a card that has already had way too many changes for my liking. It looks like they added like 2 fights midweek. We are still, I think, missing salaries for 2 of the fighters, at least last time I checked. So, yeah, very interesting slate, a slate with a ton of options. We are here with Monk, Gordo. Weezy will be joining us shortly, but we'll kick it to you first, Monk. Are you looking forward to UFC Vegas 82?
I am. A lot of first timers, debutantes or 1 or 2 fight guys this week. So should be some high variance, makes things very exciting for DraftKings. Also makes your cash lineups a little bit more picky. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, especially with 14 fights. We could only have 12 right now. So glad we still have 14. Makes things, like I said, much more fun and interesting.
Yeah, 100%. We got Gordo in the building. Gordo, are you looking forward to UFC Vegas 82?
I for sure am, man. It's a fun, star-studded in terms of number of fighters and fun fights there as well. But gotta give a shout out to last week as well, man. What a fun card we were able to watch. It was a interesting drafting slate for sure, but entertainment-wise, if this card is anything like it, will be in store for a good one here. So looking forward to it, man. Happy to shop it up with you guys.
Yep, 100% looking forward to it. Do you want to shout out the chat before we get started? We got Olajuwon in the building. What is up, Olajuwon? We got Andres in the building as well. What is up? And he says he got caught by the same train that gets Monk.
It's so long, bro. It's vast. Miles and miles.
Those trains are wild, man. They get you
10 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's annoying, but Monkey made it on time. You're actually earlier than me, I think, today. So
yeah. There was even a little accident not an accident, but someone was pulled over on the interstate, and of course that means everyone has to stop for 2 miles back.
Yeah.
But cleared up pretty quick. I thought we were on our way for another Wednesday shenanigan-filled show, but we made it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Before we get started, if you could please leave a like on the video, subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio, leave a comment as well. We love checking the comments later in the week. And then also do want to shout out the Pub Sports Radio Pick'ems contest every week, $100 the first, free to enter. Go to pubsportsradio.com to sign up. It is 100% free. All right, we're going to get right into it here. We're going to start with the fight to target for UFC Vegas 82. I'll kick us off here. I'm going to take the main event. Brendan Allen, Paul Craig. The fight doesn't go is minus 800. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those fights where, I like Brendan Allen to win the fight. I'm pretty confident in Brendan Allen to win the fight, but you can never count out Paul Craig ever. Paul Craig is pretty much always the underdog. He's always counted out. It seems like there's a lot of matchups he really should lose, but he goes out there and he always finds a way. So, yeah, I think Brendan Allen should go out there, finish Paul Craig and potentially early as well. But, Paul Craig is one of the best pump plays on the slate, and he's a pump play that I'm always looking to target. Somebody very heavy on the main event. I think somebody's getting served here, and I'm going to be as close to 100% as I can on that main event there. Monk, what is your fight to target for UFC Vegas 82?
Yeah, I love it. Paul Craig, always one of my favorites. I'm going to go with Uroš Medić, and we're just going to call him Mikey Oral Boy. How about that? I can actually spell that without looking now. It only took me like 3 times, but I like this one just because, we got short notice. That means high variance. Meanwhile, if you look at Medić's fights, all 4 of his fights have ended by way of finish. He's 3-1. 2 of those fights ended in the first round, and all 4 of those fights, him and in one case his opponent made the optimal lineup. So I love Uroš Medić, makes for exciting fights. Love that Semmelsberger fight, played him in that one. And Mikey, we'll call him, he's got 10 out of 11 finishes. And he wears an awesome hat. So, who am I to fade a guy like that? So give me this fight, one of my number 1 fights to play. 89 for Medić. I'm very curious to see what Mikey comes in at this week. Obviously Medić's opponent was at 7,300. I think it was Parsons, and that, RIP to that fight. That would have been fantastic. And say a prayer for Lou Betya. But yeah, interested to see what Mikey's salary is going to be. Higher than 7,300. It could be with all those finishes. So we might actually lose value on this fight.
He's favored.
Yeah, he is favored. He's minus 170.
Now. Jesus. This okay. Well, I don't know how much of a fight this one is to target. Hopefully we'll get a good finish. But yeah, that makes for a tough one to target. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you call him Oral Boy?
I did call him Oral Boy.
Close enough. At least you didn't call him Anal Boy. But yeah, looks like he's minus 170. Yeah, minus 170 there. And
Wow,
Medić is plus 145.
So yeah, this one could. I mean, they'll double up a salary.
Yeah,
We're gonna be paying way over 1,600. It could be, or he comes in way cheaper and he's all of a sudden the value side. So,
do you guys think they're going to price him based off of the money line he is, or based off his relation to Medić here? Like, is it going to be?
I don't know
like
what they're going to do, man. I really don't.
It's weird.
It's a really interesting scenario. Typically, when these guys come in on really short notice, like they're underdogs, and more often than not, big underdogs. This guy's the favorite, so I don't know what they're going to do.
I think they'll price him according to the line, and that's going to make for some terrible value on the whole fight.
Dude, I was hoping to get this guy as a dog. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pick this guy as a big dog this week. Nobody knows who Oral Boy is.
Yep.
And no, people know who this guy is, and he's pretty good. But Gordo, what fight are you targeting for this week?
Well, I'm glad you talked about that one because I can't pronounce it. Oral Boy maybe is better. I wish you would have told me that earlier because I just filmed and started editing my video and I could not use what I said. It is not English. But my fight to target this week is Jonathan Pearce versus Joanderson Brito. What an absolute war this is going to be, and one that just rates out incredibly well on DraftKings. Jonathan Pearce, every time he fights, has an incredible ceiling, right? He goes out there, he pushes such a high pace, scored 145 against Murakami, 134 against Kamaka, 123 against Morales, 104 against Elkins. His scores are amazing. He is a terrific DraftKings scorer with his pace, with his pressure, with his takedown upside. However, he is facing an absolute tank of a man here in Brito, someone who has a ton of finishing power, someone who is extremely dangerous at all times, and whose path to victory seems to me to be reliant on a finish win, one where he could get it with the power on the feet against Pearce, or even have a submission game to catch something in some of the same way that Rodriguez is able to put Pearce in recently as well. So I think that either a high-paced, takedown-heavy decision win for Pearce scores amazing, or that finish win for Brito could score even better. Either way, I want ownership on both sides. This is one of my favorite fights in the card.
Yep, I like that one as well. I cannot wait for that Pearce Brito fight. Uncle Weezy, which fight are you targeting for UFC Vegas 82?
Woof.
Hello?
Don't keep us in suspense.
Is he talking or is he Weezy?
Maybe the dog finished him off.
I don't know. All right, we'll skip you, Weezy, but I'm sure you like that Pearce fight as well. All right, we'll move on to the fight to fade. I'll kick us off once again. I'm going to go with a heavyweight fight here. I'm going to fade the Mick Parkin Caio Machado fight, just because the way I see it playing out, I think this fight actually potentially goes the distance. Which last time I checked on Bet Online, they had the fight doesn't go at something stupid like minus 300. Yeah, it's still minus 300 to not go the distance. I actually think this fight probably goes the distance. Mick Parkin really showed no interest at all to finish any fight in his debut against Jamal Pogue. He was kind of content to like stay on the outside, pick him apart, and I really don't really see how this fight's any different. I don't really see him going for takedowns, and I think this Machado guy is at least tough enough to survive the 15 minutes here. So I see kind of a low-scoring, sloppy, boring heavyweight fight here, and I'm going to be fading it outright. I just can't get to that price on Mick Parkin. And sorry, I'm like can barely talk. My notes are like screwing up. So yeah, 9,200 for Parkin, and then 7,000 for Machado. I'm going to be off them both. Gordo, which fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I think you can make a case for really any single fight on this card. One of the ones I'm going to be a bit underweight to is going to be Jose Johnson versus Chad Anheliger. You know what? Going against some Canadian love here, but a fight that I think both these fighters have their flaws, whether it be the takedown defense of Anheliger, or even the overall defense of how overzealous Jose Johnson is, either on the mat or on the feet as well, leaving him in some uncomfortable situations. Either way, the way that I see this fight going out is a primary striking affair, one where we have the guy who has the range here in Johnson and someone in Anheliger who has just never been knocked out, who has decent pressure, but an ability to slow the fight down. And we look at recent scores from both guys. Anheliger in his one win, yes, he was able to score 99 points, but that included 2 knockdowns against someone straighter who is not necessarily as good in my eyes as someone like Jose Johnson, whereas Johnson is also content to, yes, push a heavier pace, but I think that this is going to be one where Anheliger might slow it down, maybe some little grappling exchanges, but in comparison to the fights around them, they're just a lot better fights to target in my eyes.
All right, and then Uncle Weezy, which fight are you fading for UFC Vegas 82? Nope. There you are.
Yes. All right. What am I fading? I am fading Ogden versus Moda.
Yeah.
As much as I think that fight could potentially finish inside the distance, if it doesn't, it's probably going to be an awful fight. So, and with Trey Ogden, you don't really know what kind of a game plan he's going to fight with here. Is he going to wrestle? Is he going to get in the pocket with Nick Moda and be willing to exchange with him? The guy's a coach. He's a smart fighter. He owns his own gym. Probably not. He's going to probably try to stay on the outside and make this as boring of a point fighting battle as he possibly can. Maybe try to get this guy into the clinch and hold him up against the cage. Either way, if Moda doesn't land a big shot and if Moda's chin doesn't crack again, this one is probably a very low scoring fight.
And Weezy, real quick, your fight to target. My prediction is the Pearce Brito fight. Is that right, or was there?
Well, yeah, Pearce Brito or Hooper Leavitt depends on what you guys went over. But I mean, Pearce Brito finishes inside the distance probably 7 out of 10 times. That's about close to where the bookies are going to say it's going to finish. And you got two guys that are very dangerous fight finishers, especially Pearce, when you got the volume to go along with the finishing potential later on in the fight. So yeah, I think Pearce Brito. That's your Uncle Weezy's ding dong Donnybrook of the week. So we've gotta absolutely target that fight.
Yeah, one of us did touch on that fight there. Monk, what fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, there's a few of them, but I'm going to go with Ribas and Pinheiro. In one of their fights each since 2021, they both went off scoring like 115 and where did my there it is, 115 and 130 respectively. But other times it's just not there. 50 or like 80 points in a win for Ribas against Genji Roba, 80 points in a win for Pinheiro against Sam Hughes, 51 points in a win against Michelle Waterson Gomez. So yeah, I'm going to play the odds and just fade this one. Hopefully it goes all three and we get an 80-point victory for one of these women here. 9K for Ribas. I mean, it could pay off if she finishes Pinheiro, but yeah, that seems ridiculous. Pinheiro never been finished, only one professional loss, but yeah, 9K for Ribas sounds insane. So I'll fade this one as a whole.
All right, sounds good. Moving on to the fighter to fade. I'll kick us off here. Going to kind of piggyback off of what Weezy said. I'm fading Nicholas Moda at 8,300, and a lot of it does have to do who his opponent is, and that's Trey Ogden. Ogden just makes fights so like unbearable to watch. I mean, his fights are terrible. It looks like he's going into there to not fight. It looks like he's going there to not take damage. He's going to try to stick on the outside, try to not get touched. I could see this fight being like the lowest scoring fight on the card just because Ogden's not doing anything. So, yeah, and it's a weird fight as well because, Moda, when he's losing, he's getting knocked out. Ogden has 0 knockouts. And when Ogden's losing, he's getting subbed, and Moda has 0 sub. Like, it's a stupid matchup. I think they could have done a lot better here, but I'm going to be fading Nicholas Moda. I think Ogden is just horrible to watch, and it's going to be a horrible fight. Gordo, which fight are you fading for this week?
Yeah, there are a few ways I can go. Maybe let's go with the one that might be a bit. I've seen a lot of love for this fighter. So let's go against it here. Lucas Alexander 9.3. And I know it's one where his money line is saying a lot of people are going towards him. And it's one where, yeah, he could win this fight here. But I think when we look at an overall step back from the slate and we look at how this fight rates out as a whole, is Lucas Alexander is completely content to kickbox from the outside. And we have so many fights in here that are going to be absolute barn burners and just be fought at a very high pace. Although Jekka Sergi had a horrible performance last time out, if Lucas Alexander doesn't get a first round finish, he's not really going to live up to his optimal salary. He doesn't have the volume, he doesn't have the takedown upside. And really, although he does have power and better technicality in this side of things, unless he's putting out Sergi early, I don't think he outscores an Allen, Talbot, even a Parkin or Morales here as well. He is so expensive this week. And although I do think he is the more technical fighter, I don't think Sergi is someone he's necessarily going to run through with one-shot knockout power. It's going to come with a war of attrition, one that may come later, and one where I just think he may just be too expensive for my likings this week, especially considering how much love I'm seeing from him on the market.
Yeah, he's a massive favorite this week. We have a couple massive favorites this card. Monk, which fighter are you fading for this week?
Yeah, I'm going to echo. I don't know which one you talked about him. Maybe it was you, Brady. Mick Parkin, 9,200 seems wild. I know it's only one fight, so small sample size, and we've seen it before. Guy comes and scores, 68 points, and he scores 168 after that. So I'm not saying that's impossible, but what happened in that fight? The answer is nothing, and it was basically nothing. I believe you said Parkin didn't look for any kind of finish whatsoever. He didn't even 2.5 points a minute, less than 1 point a minute inside the distance. He allowed less than 1 point almost across all boards. So yeah, not much happened there. And now we're taking on newcomer Kyle Machado, who looked decent, I believe, in his Draftkings or in his Dana White Contender Series fight. Only would have scored 88 points in that fight, which is a low number, but it's 20 points more than Mick freaking Parkin scored in his first fight. So yeah, this one I'm going to be fading Mick Parkin at that salary. If if it comes back to bite me, then I'll adjust going forward. But yeah, I'm going to be fading Mick Parkin here.
All right, and then Weezy, which fighter are you fading this week?
Yeah, I also chose Parkin because Machado also seems to be very durable. I could see Parkin like landing big shots, but not getting them out of there. Machado ate a bunch of clean shots that I saw on tape and ate them like flapjacks. So I could see that fight going to decision. I could see it being slower, and at 9,200, you better be damn sure they finish, because you got Brendan Allen above him, you got Payton Talbott above him, you got Michael Morales. Even if Ribas doesn't finish, he throws a ton of volume. So I think Parkin's a pretty safe fade this weekend. If you want to go with a different name, Charles Johnson's got a bad matchup against Esteban. Even if Johnson wins the fight, I think Esteban is just going to try to stick to him like glue and really just kind of not let him get off any strikes. So I think that he's a decent fade at 8,000 as well.
Yep, I agree with all of those there. All right, let's move on to our favorite dog of the week. There's not a ton sticking out to me, to be honest. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. We'll start with you, Gordo. Who's your favorite dog this week?
Yeah, I'm kind of going to be piggybacking off of what I said earlier here. It's going to be Joanderson Brito. I love Jonathan Pearce. I love his pace, love his pressure. But when we're looking over here at Brito's path to victory and considering his overall finishing style and how dangerous this man is, at 7.8K, I think his win condition scores almost as well as anybody on this slate. And I think that he is someone who is going to be extremely dangerous going up against someone in Pearce who is going to bring a heavy pace, but only allow Brito to have a lot of options. We've seen Pearce rocked on the feet. We've seen him put in a precarious situation by the grapplers before. Although I love Pearce and I will be rostering him as well, Brito at 7.8 is going to be making a lot of my rosters due to how dangerous he is and how much upside he has.
Yeah, I mean, my pick for underdog actually was going to be my tittyback Oral Boy, but it looks like we're not going to get him at an underdog price tag. So that kind of sucks. Like, I was hoping he was going to be an underdog. He actually opened up plus 135, but he's now minus 170. So I don't think we're getting my tittyback Oral Boy at an underdog price tag. So I got to go with Brito as well. 7,800. I think it's a fight that really can go either way. The way I see it playing out is Brito's going to have about 5 to 6 to maybe 7 minutes to land something big on the feet. Jonathan Pearce doesn't have the best strike and defense, or Brito can go out there and get a sub. But if it doesn't happen early, I don't think it's happening at all. And I think Pearce is going to do the typical drowning your opponent type situation. So I think it's Brito early, Jonathan Pearce late. I think the winner scores a ton, but yeah, Brito would probably be my favorite dog. Not, like I said, not a ton sticking out. Weezy, who's your favorite dog this week?
Yeah, I gave Oral Boy in my thing here. So I mean, I don't like any of these underdogs this week.
Same.
Ogden, no chance. I'm not playing Brito just because I think he loses. Putilova, I think it's blanketed. Anheliger, I think it's knocked out. Leavitt, I think it's out volumed. Pinheiro is not a bad shot. She probably doesn't get finished. 7,200. It's a
What
decent.
about Dennis Tuiluian?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think so, man. I'm not touching Tialula with a 10-foot pole. So yeah, maybe Pinheiro. Pinheiro's a decent high floor underdog option this week if you can't get Oral Guy at 8,000 or less.
Gosh, yeah, these underdogs this week, not much sticking out. Monk, who's your favorite dog this week?
Man, I'm just happy to be here guys, chat, you guys were all here for my titty back Oral Boy. Are you hearing what's happening right now? Then Weezy calls him Oral Guy. This is the greatest 3 minutes in the show's history. I'm not like, you should be celebrating and popping streamers at your house. This is amazing. Yeah, I'm going with Paul Craig, not my dart throw, not even value, but my favorite underdog, because why not? I'm a Paul Craig fanboy. 6,800 is crazy. Brendan Allen fights scrubs, guys. He fights fucking scrubs. Bruno Silva, Andre Muniz, Christoph Jocko. Who's Christoph Jocko? Come on. Jacob Malkoon, he's a cheater. Ask Cody Brundage. And Sam Alvey. Those are his last 5 guys. He has, let's just say, hasn't been tested at all. Meanwhile, Paul Craig, light heavyweight, has come down to take over the middleweight division, dispatched of Andre Muniz 5 minutes quicker than Brendan Allen did at the weight class. He's fighting Johnny Walker, who just fought for a title basically against Magomed. He's fought Volkan Oezdemir, who beat the killer Bogdan in his last fight, and he's beaten Nikita Krylov by the skin of his teeth. And according to him, the current light heavyweight champ Jamal Hill, just ask him, he will tell you. It's Paul Craig, 6,800. If he wins, he's making the optimal, and I think he can sub anyone at any time. So while it's, I am being a bit hyperbolic here, obviously, but yeah, I like Paul Craig here, and I think this line's a bit too wide, to be completely honest.
No, it definitely is wide. I mean, how can you count out Paul Craig? This guy's always live. I'm sorry I kept laughing. I just kept laughing at my titty back oral boy. I mean, that's the best name ever.
Incredible.
My titty back oral boy is coming for the belt, I think. I think he
coming
might.
to theaters near you with a name like that.
Heck yeah. Gordo, you already said your favorite dog. You had Brito, Uncle Weezy. You hated all the dogs. I guess you picked
terrible.
Pinheiro. Yeah. And then Monk has Craig, and then I had Brito as well. But we'll see where they put my titty back. All right, we'll move on to our prize picks section. I'll kick this one off. I'm going to go with Rafael Estevam. I'm going to take the more than 2.5 takedown just because I feel like his path to victory is going to be to wrestle the entire time, like diving at legs. And yeah, Johnson doesn't have the worst takedown defense in the world, but he can absolutely be taken down. But what I like about Johnson is when he gets taken down, he does a really good job at popping back up. So I could see this actually hitting like maybe in the first round. Like, Estevam takes him down, Johnson gets back up, Matt returns him, gets another takedown. So yeah, I think he has potential to go out there and just smash that more than 2.5 takedowns. I think this fight goes the distance. I don't see Johnson getting finished. He's never been finished. So yeah, I like this more than 2.5 takedowns for Rafael Estevam there. Gordo, what are you liking for prize picks?
I got a couple I'm choosing between. Let's go with another takedown prop. Let's go Aline Perez over 2.5. Haven't talked about this fight yet. One that I think is going to be honestly fought at a pretty high pace. There could be cases made for both sides here, but I do think that the pace we saw from Aline Perez last time out, the one where she's going to be completely aggressive the whole time, landed 10 takedowns against Ashley Evans-Smith, facing someone in Pudilova who, yes, has been turning a corner recently, but in her first stint, she was taken down a few times. I mean, she was taken down, submitted by Antonina Shevchenko. She's been taken down and controlled by larger fighters, and I do think that the pace and pressure that Perez is going to bring may allow her to get over 2.5 takedowns this weekend. I do think that's going to be her mentality going forward. I don't mind that line on prize picks.
So what's hilarious is after Perez's performance, she actually changed her nickname, and her nickname is now, and I kid you not, Nurmagomedov.
Is this real? I thought this was photoshopped.
No, it's a real thing. Her nickname is Nurmagomedov, which I thought was pretty funny because I thought
it's not Ronda.
No, it's not Ronda. It's Nurmagomedov after she took down Ashley Evans-Smith 10 times. So she kind of reminded me a little bit of like Colby Covington in that fight. I wouldn't have mind like Eileen Covington Perez, but no, she's going with Nurmagomedov there.
Well,
Monk, thoughts on that nickname?
Yeah, who's the first one that now we have to take? They're all named Ronda, right? And now there's one named Nurmagomedov. Who's going to be the first one to go Nurmagomedov? That's the only step left.
Put them together.
Yeah, Nurmagomedov. I would bet that fighter 100 times out of 100. Yeah, quickly, price picks. I love the JSP options, especially the takedowns. And if he wins, fantasy points at 76.5. That's kind of stupid. I'm gonna go with that one. Jonathan Pearce over 76.5. Brito has only had 2 people attempt takedowns against him. Actually, one person, Algio, attempted 2 against him, and he landed both of them. Since then, he's fought Andre Fili, Lucas Alexander, and Weston Wilson. None of those people, pose any sort of takedown threat whatsoever, while JSP is a different animal altogether. So, just in his last 5 fights, it's 12, 18, 23 takedowns in his last 5. So he's not fighting world beaters by any means, but none of them are as bad as Weston Wilson. So, give me JSP over 2 takedowns.
Yeah, you better put some respect on Weston Wilson's name right now.
Why is that? Oh, you gonna
I don't
send
know. He has
my
a cool,
titty
he has a
back
cool
oral
name.
boy after me?
He has a cool name. By the way, that fight should have never been sanctioned. I felt so bad for
That was
poor
awful.
Weston Wilson. You knew he was going to get destroyed as soon as he walked out. It was terrible. Poor Weston Wilson. Hopefully we see him back soon. Elijah One saying, no way Bruce is announcing. You'd be surprised. Last week he announced the black cock. I was actually shocked he did that, but yeah, you never know.
Gallo Negro.
Yeah,
Yes,
you never
sir.
know with Bruce Buffer. Weezy, what do you like for Prize Picks this week?
I like Pearce over 76.5 fantasy score.
That was my
he
other
scored
one, yeah.
that in every single one that he's scored. As a matter of fact, guys, here's what he's scored on Prize Picks: 107, 165. The worst one was 76.8. That was against C-Rod. 123.2, 146.6, and then Joe Lozon cheated, and he only scored 7.8 points. But every other fighter that didn't cheat, he scored more than the
Wait, how did he cheat? How did he cheat?
Wait, are you reading Marab
We
numbers?
don't have time to get into how he cheated, but you're not beating Jonathan Pearce without cheating, ladies and gentlemen. So he definitely
sand in his
cheated.
face.
I'm saying it here. He's a cheater. He cheated and got Pearce in a position that he couldn't possibly get out of. What was he supposed to do? So yeah, I like Pearce's fantasy points this week on Prize Picks. Pick the over.
Yeah, I mean, all he has to do to hit that is win the fight. All right, we'll move on to our favorite GPP play. We'll kick it to Monk. Who are you liking this week for GPP?
Well, I stupidly had Uroš Medić on my list because I wasn't thinking about the salary, so he's X'd out. Man, I guess it's Aylin Perez. We're gonna go with that. I do like CLD here. I think his opponent will be much cheaper than my titty back oral boy. I'm gonna keep finding ways to say that before the show is over. Yeah, Aylin Perez. She really, I've been trying. I'm a hater. I am a hater of Aylin Perez, not because of anything specific. I just sometimes you just don't like certain fighters. She's one of them. However, she did score 138 points against Ashley Evans-Smith, who hadn't fought in like 65 years. So I don't hate her this week against Lucy Pudilova. You know what's going to happen if you're fighting Pudilova. Like, you just have to avoid avoid an arm, like don't get arm barred basically at this point against Lucy Pudilova. She has decent striking. That Jocelyn Edwards fight was a terrible decision. She should have won that fight, so she should be on a 2-fight win streak. That said, it's against Edwards and Wu Yanan. I think Perez is gonna keep improving, and if that's the case, I really like her for DraftKings here. She landed 10 takedowns against Ashley Evans-Smith. 10 freaking takedowns. So yeah, Liz Carmouche put Pudilova down 3 times back in 2019, and the ever famous Justine Kish landed a takedown on her in 2020. So we're not going to see much of that from Wu, and we're not going to see much of that from Edwards. So she's going to be tested this week, and I think Perez can pull it off. Like her at 8,600 a lot.
All right. Somebody I'm liking a decent amount, and apparently it's an unpopular opinion this week, but I actually really like Chase Hooper this week. I know a lot of people are on the Jordan Leavitt side. I think it's more of like a price thing, just because Chase Hooper really shouldn't be this big favorite against anybody. But man, if Chase Hooper wins this fight, he's going to score incredibly. Like, in his wins, he scored 120 against Fiore, 142 against Colores, 112 against Tamor, and then his worst win was against Slippery Pete Barrett, where he scored 73. But I think we can forgive him a little bit because Slippery Pete Barrett is very slippery, and I think he's a lot more slippery than Jordan Leavitt. So yeah, when he's winning fights, he is crushing. I like the volume, I like the pace of Hooper, I like the toughness, I like the he's dangerous. He's a black belt in BJJ. And I think he's going to have the cardio advantage here. I think he can drown Jordan Leavitt late in this fight and potentially finish him. We've seen Jordan Leavitt slow down, most notably that Claudia Poyas fight where he accepted bottom position in the 2nd and 3rd round. So yeah, I think Chase Hooper can go out there, and if he wins this fight, he puts up a massive score in this one. So give me Chase Hooper. I don't think he's going to be crazily owned this week. Weezy, who's your favorite GBP play?
It's Pearce. The guy scores, what is it? It's a ridiculous amount of
1 million.
He scores 5.72 DraftKings points per minute. 5.72 when like 4 is phenomenal. That would be 86 points in a decision loss. 116 points in a decision win. Here are his scores on DraftKings in his wins. If I can get my mouse working. They are 104.19, 145.38, 95.71, 123.39, 133.98, and 3.2 points against that cheater Joe Lozon. So this guy is scoring an absolute shit ton of points. Even if he loses, if he makes it the full 15 minutes, he might even pay off his salary at the rate that he scores DraftKings points at. So I think it's a great GPP play, high upside, cheap price, perfect DraftKings archetype.
Yep, 100%. I think we have Gordo, right?
Yeah, man, we got this one to go. Before I do that, though, how much do you bake in Jordan Leavitt's wife's pregnancy into the line with Hooper?
Yeah,
Dude,
he might pull out of the fight.
How do you weigh that in, Gordo, to how much exposure you want to that fight, seeing as we're all scarred from having late, replacements, fights getting canceled after the fights actually start, knowing that this guy's got a wife that's just about to pop, and he came out and said, if she goes into labor, I'm leaving. I'm going to be with her.
I heard that like 76% of people read that tweet and were like, he has a wife?
Yeah, I bet.
Well, my GPP play is not on that fight, but I just thought I'd mention that. It's a pretty interesting concept to look at for sure. This kind of answers Jack's question in the chat. He's asking if we have any lines for the Leroy Duncan fight. We do. And we do have massive value on Christian Leroy Duncan, making him my favorite GPP play on the slate. He is minus 400 to win this fight, but only 8.5K on DraftKings. He is facing someone in Dennis Tuliulian. Say it, Monk. I can't say it.
Tuliulian. You have to keep your pinky up when you say it. Tuliulian.
Sorry. So he's facing someone who has had historically poor results in the UFC, having been finished in 3 of his 4 losses, all by ground and pound. And although you're facing someone in CLD who is mostly a striker, he has that ground game in his back pocket, as well as being a very good, aggressive, and technical striker on the feet. He has a ton of power, and he is someone who I do think wins this fight a lot of the time, let alone at his price tag, at his implied win probability at 8.5K. He doesn't have the distance line. His ceiling is just as high as almost anyone here, but he should win this fight a lot more often than people around him. Pretty secure play, in my opinion, 8.5K.
All right, Monk, did we get you? I forget. What
I was too busy thinking about Tuliulian.
Same.
What are we doing?
Talk about Perez.
Yeah,
talk about Perez.
No. I'm talking about no one's mentioned this guy yet, and he's a phenomenal fighter. I'm super excited to see him fight every single time. And that is Michael Morales at $9,100. He was the first person I put in my cash lineup. He will probably continue to be whenever he fights. He looks fantastic. Fighting Jake Matthews, who did look good against Darius Flowers. It's like another Weston Wilson type situation here. Lost to Semmelsberger and Sean Brady in his last 5. Has beaten Darius Flowers, Andre Fiallo, who has a paper chin, and Diego Sanchez. Those are his last 3 wins, guys. And now he's fighting the ever-present, ever-steady striker in Michael Morales. Even landed a takedown in his last fight, had a little bit of control time, but just outstriking everyone he fights, getting knockdowns in 2 of his 3 fights, and he looked pretty good against Max Griffin, even though he didn't score very well. Hoping to see him bounce back here, but I really don't think Jake Matthews is the one to hand Michael Morales his first L in the UFC. So yeah, give me Michael Morales at 9,100. I think this is a fantastic spot. I don't know if he necessarily 10x's his score, but he is going to get you that win, which is what you need for cash. And he's not anywhere close to the most expensive play on the card.
Yeah, I have one bet on this card so far, and it's Morales, and a lot of that has to do with, Jake Matthews, his wins are terrible. I went through his record. Like, if he beats Morales, it's probably his best win. Like, Meek, like Rostam Akhman. Who is that guy?
Mill is a rapper. What are we doing here?
I know. Who was the guy with the hairy chest? Was that Akhman or Meek? One of them had like the hairiest chest I've ever seen.
Oh, that's Rostam Akhman.
That was Rostam.
Yeah, dude, that guy's got a hairy back, he's wearing a hair shirt. It's like fighting a human Brillo.
Makes Roman Dolidze blush. I tell you what.
He's beating really hairy guy. I don't think Mike Morales has any hair on him, so he should be all right. But
still a young man.
Yes.
24.
All right. I'm going with my favorite cash play here. It's going to be Payton Talbott, 9,500, and with the whole what's his face? Dennis Lewin coming in here. I'm able to fit him in my cash lineup here. Yeah, 9,500. It's expensive, but this guy throws a ton of volume, and man, I hate Nick Aguirre's his striking defense. I think Talbot's going to really hurt this guy. I think he finishes him, but before that, I think he's going to put a ton of volume on him as well. So yeah, I like Talbot here quite a bit. 9,500. He's the biggest favorite on the card. Last time I saw him, he was minus 800. But I think the line came. No, he's minus 800 currently, which it is a little bit disrespectful. But I really do like this matchup for him. So give me Talbot for cash. Weezy, who you liking for cash games this week?
I'm going with Christian Leroy Duncan. He had a tough debut against Petrosian. But Petrosian just 10 times the fighter that Tialulan is, and even he kind of kept that close, even though he showed zero fight IQ, zero fight planning. He didn't really show the ability to be able to work towards his opponent's weaknesses. He didn't show the ability to be able to offensively grapple against the guy with the worst takedown defense in the division. So there were a lot of things that CLD did just did horribly in his UFC debut, but the guy is still tremendously talented. Like Gordo mentioned, the kind of line value that you're getting at his salary right now, and that he's fighting somebody that's just absolutely piss poor in every aspect of MMA. And the one thing that Tialulan does do is hit hard, but CLD just stays so long and is just so hard to find that I think that he should make this look easy, and if he might even be able to get a takedown against a bum like Tialulan and finish him on the ground. So yeah, I think at 8,500 he definitely wins. And even if he doesn't do it spectacularly, he probably pays off his salary.
Yeah. Medić is now fighting my titty back Oral Boy.
Yes.
He's the guy from the LFAs. He's pretty good. My titty back.
Oral guy.
Oral
man.
Oral man. Monk, what do you got for wait, we already did you, Monk. Gordo, what do you got for cash?
Lucky for you guys, I have 3 names written down as all 3 you mentioned. I do like Talbot, I do like Morales, and I've already talked about Christian Leroy Duncan. Nothing but good things to say about those 3. Love them. We can move on.
Excellent. Let's move on to our favorite value play, and I'm going to go with somebody you guys already talked about, Christian Leroy Duncan. I mean, he's extreme value here. 8,500, minus 400 on the money line, taking on a bum. He should be able to do whatever he wants here. Preferably take this guy down. I mean, Dennis Lewin has the worst ground game I've ever seen. So yeah, 8,500. If he takes him down, I think he makes it look pretty easy. And if he wants to knock him out, I think he could potentially do that as well. So yeah, Christian Leroy Duncan for my value play. Tons of value there. Gordo, who you looking for some value this week?
Yeah, for value for me, it's someone who I'm not even picking to win, but Estevan, 8.2K. His win condition is going to be taking down again someone in Johnson who just has horrible takedown defense. And although I do think in the long run the striking is even close, if Estevan wants to win this fight, he's either going to require an early finish or he's going to have to go out there and control and take down this man repetitively, something that Johnson has allowed 12 takedowns before, has allowed 10 takedowns before. He is someone who has many flaws in his game that allow Estevan's ceiling to be very, very high. Again, I'm picking Johnson in a very, very close fight, but the win condition for Estevan will look like hindsight value to the max. Ton of takedown upside, even some ground upside as well for Estevan. Could look very well in a win and could look like hindsight value.
Yep, I actually had him up until Christian Duncan is taken on to Lewin. So yeah, I agree with you there. Monk, who are you liking for value this week?
Excuse me, we've already talked about him a bunch, so I'm not going to take a bunch of time. Jonathan Pearce, just because he's so cheap, guys. I think this is this line probably too narrow. Weezy went through all the scores. We talked about the takedowns, the control time. This dude is a freaking beast. His nickname is JSP for a reason. But my second one, we're going to go Chad Anheliger because Jose Johnson sucks. And he's 8,700. He sucks. He's bad. Chad Anheliger, best value, 7,500.
Come on.
That's it. He sucks.
What? Actually, I actually don't mind Johnson, but
he's looked terrible. This dude barely scores 1 point a minute. He allows almost 7. Super stuff from Jose Johnson.
Not bad. All right. We all talked about Weezy. I got you right or no?
No, man. And how could we talk about value, Brady, if we don't talk about Eileen Nurmagomedov Perez? When you look at her, you think of Khabib Nurmagomedov. When you watch her wrestler, you think of George St. Pierre and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Lucy Pudilova, on the other hand, is somebody who just got absolutely mauled on the regional scene by Talita Bernardo.
Oh,
Who?
6-4. 6-4. Talita Bernardo took down Lucy
Wait,
Pudilova.
is she nicknamed Nurmagomedov?
No, she's not.
Oh, well.
But, I mean, there's only one. There's only one Khabib Nurmagomedov, and his name is Eileen Perez, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going with you know what? She did wrestle really well against Ashley Evans Smith. And here's the thing, right? Pudilova goes out there and beats Wu Yanan, not affiliated with the Wu-Tang Clan. She goes out there and she beats Jocelyn Edwards, loses on the scorecards. But what we know about Wu and about Jocelyn is that they're both absolutely god-awful on the ground. Jocelyn Edwards gives up at least 50% control time to her opponent. She's one of the easiest bantamweights to take down and hold down. So I think that a lot of people are thinking that Pudilova is a grappler now. She's not. She's facing Khabib Nurmagomedov, you guys. So get Aileen Perez, otherwise known as Khabib Nurmagomedov, in your lineup. It'll be value, and she's going to get a lot of takedowns and a lot of control time, and she's going to land a lot of ground and pound.
hold up. We got breaking news live on the stream.
Uh-oh.
The return of Priscilla Ketcha-Cheating.
Yes.
In Canada.
Gordo.
Jazz Divicious?
In
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
Wow.
In
That's
Canada.
a brutal matchup for Ketcha-Cheating. She's going to come in 7 pounds heavy. She's going to gouge her eyes.
Dude, it was
She's
ridiculous.
going to come in greased up.
She cheated like 20 times in the Maverick fight. Eye gouges, taken off her shirt. I mean, it was terrible. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Zombie Girl. Maybe Jazz the Vicious can potentially finish her as well. I hate cheaters. All right, so that's exciting. That's exciting. Gordy, you're going to the card, right?
I'm trying my best to, man. I told myself there's no way missing that card, but have you seen ticket prices for it, man?
They're not the worst I've seen, but yeah, they're not terrible.
Like
I mean, 300 for the
$750
cheapest I saw.
$750 for a upper level 300 seat.
Oh, come on.
I thought I saw 300 or in US dollars though.
It's you damn Canadians. You're just swimming around in oil money, and now you've priced everybody out of the market for UFC tickets.
Now that was just the Fight Club sale today. We'll see how it goes tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
But well, I'm trying my best to, man. I wouldn't miss it. Hopefully, me and my dad can go see it. That'd make my day. Especially see our girl Jazz Vicious, right? Come on.
Yeah.
What a card.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's a good card. All right. We'll move on to our dart throw. I'll kick us off. I'm going to go with one Luana Pinheiro, 7,200, just because she's going up against the chinniest WMMA fighter in the UFC. That is Amanda Ribas. Amanda Ribas has been knocked out a total of 3 times. She's been hurt a lot. Even Verna Jandiroba knocked her down, which that doesn't make much sense. But yeah, Pinheiro, I don't think she's great. I get why Ribas is the favorite, but she does have power. She knocked down Sam Hughes. She finished somebody on the Contender Series, knocked her down and finished her shortly after. So, yeah, I mean, Ribas cutting down to 115 here. I could see Pinheiro potentially landing a big shot and breaking the slate of low ownership. So it's going to take a little bit of Pinheiro at 7,200. Weezy, who's your dart throw for this week?
How about Jekka Sergey this week? He is a powerful striker. He's actually got some submissions on his record. And let's face it, Lucas Alexander shouldn't be minus 510 against pretty much anybody in this weight class. And, I mean, when you watch Sergey fight, yeah, he's from the Indonesian regional scene, and we don't really know how he's going to do against UFC level competition, but he's going out there to take your head off. This guy is going to be live in any fight because he throws with power, he throws with purpose, and he's looking to kill people in there. So he's not going to be one of these guys that goes out there and plays passively and all of a sudden fancies himself a minute winner who's going to point fight. If this guy wins, he's going to take this guy out and he's going to finish him. So might as well take a shot on him. Super low price. Definitely some high upside for a guy with a 100% finish rate in his wins.
Yep, I don't hate that. Super cheap. And if he wins, it's going to be by finish. Gordo, who's your dart throw for this week?
Well, I think Monk already said he's his favorite dog, so I just get to talk about it as a dart throw. The one and only Paul Craig, right? He's someone who was going to be extremely cheap. Again, I get the chin concerns, and I get that the durability is always going to be there for him. But you're giving me a guy against him, and Allen, who is a primary grappler as well in my eyes, someone who is going to willingly take it to the ground. I'll take Paul Craig anytime. I think that's going to be a fun matchup there. Again, gun to my head, would I probably take Allen in a matchup? Maybe. But do I not want to play Craig at 6.8K when his ceiling is as high as it is? Like, it's Paul Craig we're talking about. Every time he wins, it's some way in his guard, and he scores very well in doing so. So 6.8K, very attractive to me this weekend. I do like me some Paul Craig.
Yep, Paul Craig is always a dart throw that you got to take note of. Monk, dart throw for this week.
Definitely. I had two of them down. You guys already mentioned them. So I agree completely. It's Paul Craig at 6,800 for sure. And then it's Luana Pinheiro. Honestly, that was the one I was going to give you. Not too much UFC experience, but let's see. She is 3-0. And like you said, Ribas one of the worst chins in the division. You never know what you're going to get with Ribas. She could go off and score a million points like she did either last fight or the fight before. I don't remember. Or, she does pretty much nothing and gets knocked down and loses the fight. Once again, I think her salary is way too expensive, which conversely means that I think Pinheiro, by the transitive property, if you take algebra, is way too cheap. So I like her for the dart throw. Should be low owned at 7,200. Looking at that for a good option. I like her more than Matthews. Machado, I don't even know. I like her a lot actually for that range specifically.
All right, sounds good to me. All right, so we got through everything. Now we're going to go over the lineups from last week. We'll give our lineups for this week. We'll give our quick picks, and then we'll head out of here. If you guys have any questions in the chat, be sure to type them in. We'll get to them shortly. I think I saw 2, but type those questions in there. All right, so last week we had in last place was myself. I had Mateusz Rebecki, 111, Mackenzie Dern, 89, Steve Ursig, 87, Diego Lopez, 105, Yuri Prohashka, 24, and then Matt Favola, 13, scoring 361.85. Third place was Weezy, had Rebecki, 111, Benoit Saint Denis, 108, Ursig, 87, Pavlovich, 0.4.
That's me.
Yeah.
Keep reading.
Oh,
this is
gosh.
mine. I'm in third.
I must be fried. Borshev, 57 for Monk, and then Borjas, 36. Monk had 401.99. In second was Gordo. He had Benoit Saint Denis, 108. Dern, 19. Pereira, 97. Aspinall, 104. Diego Lopez, 105. Kung Ho Kong, 35. And he scored 470.73. And then in first place was Weezy, had Emmers, 130. Makes no sense, but he did it. Van, 106. Pereira, 97. Aspinall, 104. Slava, 57, and then Favola, 13. Weezy, you scored 509.33. Congrats, you got first place.
Yeah, man, that was so like I left Emmers in there. I was gonna switch out Emmers for Rebecki and then give up a little salary someplace else. And then I said to myself, and I'm never gonna come and lie to you guys and say like I knew Emmers was gonna finish that fight because I didn't know. I lost 3.2 units on that fight because Emmers got a finish. So I wasn't expecting that, but I was expecting Emmers to be able to wrestle. So, yeah, I got really lucky there, just leaving Emmers in my lineup, and then he winds up getting a knockout in 60 seconds. Just bizarre. I should have had Jared Gordon in there, too, because I should have known he was going to get a first-round knockout, too. But, yeah, good to win one, and I got an interesting lineup this week that I'm hoping I could pull off 2 in a row.
Yeah, the optimal was crazy. It was almost 700 last week.
Crazy. Yeah, I wasn't even anywhere close to it.
All right, so we are 39 cards in. In fourth, we have Monk with 15,264. Third, we got Weezy with 15,373. Second, we have myself, 16,107. And then first is Gordo, 16,142. I am 34 behind Gordo. Weezy is 768 behind Gordo, and then Monk is 878 behind Gordo. Gordo, you are in first. Once again, congrats.
We're switching these back and forth. It'll be interesting to see where we are next week, but no, it's fun. We're almost there.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna potentially catch you this week. I'm liking my lineup. I might change it depending on where my titty back comes in, but I'm guessing they're going to price him up to like an unplayable range. So I'm probably gonna keep this lineup. We'll see where they comes in at though. So we'll start with you, Gordo. What is your lineup for this week?
Yeah, mine will be changing whenever Titty Boy, Oral Man, what comes in, whatever you guys want to call him. But for right now, I do have Morales up top, Aline Perez, Joanderson, Brito, Christian Leroy, Duncan, Paul Craig, and then the placeholder for Oral Man is going to be Mick Parkin.
All right, Weezy, what do you got for this week?
I have got Chase Hooper, Jose Johnson, otherwise known as Zacharias Johnson. Do you guys see that? That's his first name, Zacharias?
Yeah.
No. Wow.
Isn't that wild? Yeah. Eileen Nurmagomedov Perez, Christian Leroy Duncan, Jonathan Pearce, and Jekka Sergey is a punt.
All right, I'm going to go with Payton Talbott up top, 95. Christian Duncan, 85. Rafael Estevam, 82. Chase Hooper, 88. Joanderson, Brito, 78. And then punting with Luana Pinheiro, 72. Monk, what do you got for this week?
Yeah, I left a bunch of. I left 400 on the table, so my lineup may change, but I don't know. I kind of like it. Michael Morales, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Christian Leroy Duncan, Jonathan Pearce, Rafael Estevam, and Paul Craig.
Sounds good. All right. We're gonna answer some questions here. We'll give it to. I'll answer this one, Jack, because I have the odds pulled up right now. The new lines on the Medić and Leroy Duncan fight. So right now, Uroš Medić is plus 145. My titty back Oral Man is minus 170. Lots of money has came in on the Oral Man. And then as far as Christian Leroy Duncan, he's minus 400 against that bum Dennis Tulu. And did I do it right, Monk?
You did. You nailed it.
There we go. All
have to
right.
do
So
it
we
like
don't have
you're at a
salaries
tea
yet
party.
for titty back, and then okay, and then we don't have a salary for Dennis Tuluin, but we don't really care about that because nobody's really playing him, I don't think. All right. This can go to Monk. Who is Medić fighting now?
I believe it's a guy named My Titty Back Oral Boy. I believe that's his name.
Okay.
Depending on his age, he might be an oral guy. If you listen to Gordo, his name's Titty Man Oral Boy, which also acceptable. Man of many names. Man of many names.
Okay. You do any tape on Titty Man or no?
I watched the most recent two fights, and what the announcers kept saying in the most recent two fights was Oral Guy is going to show more of his striking, because evidently the fights before the most two recent fights, the Jalen Fuller fight and going further back, this guy basically just wrestles. But in the most two recent fights, he's knocking out his opponents. He's staying at distance striking range, and you can almost tell that he's like resisting the urge to wrestle so that he can show the striking side of his game more, because maybe he was thinking to himself, if I just keep blanketing dudes, maybe I won't get that UFC call. So the last two fights in LFA, he showed off more of his striking, and it's not bad, but he's not going to want to do that against Uroš Medić, because Uroš is on a much higher level than the last two strikers that he faced in LFA.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Titty Back. I was like, yeah, I'm going to pick this guy as a big dog this week. Nobody knows about this Titty guy, but no, apparently people are really high on this guy. I put a meme. Yeah, they do. They love him. I put a meme on Twitter saying, who? As in terms of who this guy was. And then people were like, this guy's legit. This guy's legit.
Yeah, I saw it. Then you're like, oh, never mind. He's really good.
I know.
This Titty guy is pretty dang good. All right. This can go to Gordo. He's saying more likely to see the Monkey King do the splits or Brito knock out Pearce.
We might be more likely to see just the Monkey King split. Like he might just leave if his wife goes into labor too. So who knows? But
it's true.
That one is a close one. I do think that there is some, let's say, underdog viability on the Monkey King if the fight were to play out. Again, the big concern for him is the cardio, and with the pace that Hooper's been pushing recently could be dangerous. But I think both those outcomes are not far from impossible. I think Brito could knock out Pearce. We've seen it done before. Again, Brito would have to cheat if you ask Weezy, but it is a possibility either way.
Yeah, maybe he'll bring like a baseball bat into the cage. That's cheating.
Yeah, I think he hits like a baseball bat, man.
He does. He does.
Man, does he?
This can go to our Uncle Weezy. He's EQ saying, do you like any split props like the Loopy fight for the Ribas fight? Oh, he's saying, is there any split decisions sticking out on this card?
Split decisions, huh? Oh man, I mean,
Anheliger Johnson. That's got split
3.
all
I
over
think
it.
Anheliger's getting knocked out for the first time in his entire career.
God,
That's what I think.
I don't want to see Jose Johnson knock anyone out.
Zacharias Johnson.
Yeah, sorry.
The
age of Aquarius.
Yeah, you know what? How about Charles Johnson or Estevam by split decision?
Like that
Because I could see like Estevam getting a lot of takedowns, but not really doing anything with it, losing the minutes on the feet. That could be a close one. But a lot of these look like they're going to be ass shavings one way or another. So it's kind of hard to find the split props. But yeah, like Pinheiro could win early rounds and Ribas could take over down the stretch. But I think the most likely split decision is Johnson Estevam.
I got those two, but what do you guys feel about Ogden Mata if we go damage versus
that gets out of the first round,
Maybe it's so terrible the judges won't know what to do. Like it's so bad. They might fall asleep. I could see it.
I don't know, man. Tabitha Ricci won 30-27, so
yeah, I had her winning by decision.
Somebody was watching the fighters, but not the
I didn't agree with the 30-27.
Yeah. You never know. All right, guys. So we did it. We went through everything. I'm going to kick it around here. Uncle Weezy, I know you moved your show just a tip back to tonight. So you're going live in about 1 hour. Anything else going on this week for you?
Greasy 4-leg parlay will come out on Friday. But other than that, I am done for the week. Gonna smoothly kind of head into the Thanksgiving week. Spend some time with family. Going to see some people I haven't seen in a minute. But yeah, 10 o'clock Central Time, 1 hour from now. Join me on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. We'll break down all of these fights. We'll give you my track bets, and we'll finish with Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. So we got to stack cash tickets like flapjacks for this UFC Vegas 82 card and bathe in the blood of our vanquished Draftkings enemies. Let's go!
Weezy, quick picks. What do you got?
Oh, no. See, I don't have them yet. So like, all right. So I'm going, I don't have round. I don't have method because they're all on a 25-page document that I haven't actually entered it into Tapology yet because I haven't done just the tip yet, but we'll go Brendan Allen. We're going Morales, Hooper, Talbott, Ribas, Medić, Eileen Nurmagomedov Perez, Mick Parkin, JSP, Jose Johnson, Charles Johnson, Lucas Alexander, and Christian Leroy Duncan.
All right. And then Monk, let the people know where they can find you and then your very quick picks for the card.
Yeah, find me Monk and Lou's happy hour tomorrow. If you're going to be at the Austin card, you can probably find me there. I'm about to secure my tickets probably right after the show tonight, to be completely honest. I'm waiting on a couple of people to let me know, Lou bet ya, if you're going to go with me or not. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. Excited for that one. Excited for Thanksgiving. Be safe this week. And I'll give you my picks. Brendan Allen, Michael Morales, Jordan Leavitt, Payton Talbott, Amanda Ribas, Uroš Medić, Jonathan Pearce, Chad Anheliger. We're going to go Mick Parkin, I guess. Lucas Alexander, Habib Perez, Trey Ogden, Rafael Estevam, and Christian Leroy Duncan.
What date is the Austin card?
I believe it's December 2nd, 2 weeks from this card.
Yep.
All right.
Tarzukian versus Daryush.
Yeah, it's a banger card.
Yeah,
Benny, isn't it? Daryush and Sarukian.
Yeah, I've been to.
Cody Brundage is going to be on the card. That's why I was trying to get Lou to go. He could see his BFF, Cody Brundage.
He's fresh off a first-round knockout of Jacob Malkoun.
Yeah, so I mean, that's great.
Back in there.
Look, got one of the hardest heads in the game.
He does.
Yeah, I cashed that Brundage first-round prop. Shout out.
Yeah, you did.
Heck yeah. Thank you for that. All right, Gordo, where can they find you in your quick picks for this card?
Yeah, I'm currently finishing editing and uploading my video later tonight. You can find my full card breakdown on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel, as well as a Best Bets video that I will be doing later in the week, as well as my premium content can be found on Daily Fan MMA, where I do my podcast and shows with Brett Apley. Fun stuff there. Wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving next week, and look forward to seeing some family over the time there, because you know what? I'm an honorary American now. I can go home and celebrate 2 Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
Right? Come on.
There you go.
But no, wish everyone the best of luck, guys. Let's make some money. Quick pick wise, let's go Brendan Allen, Jake Matthews, Chase Hooper, Payton Talbott, Amanda Ribas, Titty Boy, Old Boy, whatever, Nicholas Mata, Aline Perez, Mick Parkin, Joanderson, Brito, Chad Anheliger, let's go Canada, Charles Johnson, Lucas Alexander, Christian Leroy Duncan.
All right, and then quick picks for me. I'm going Brendan Allen, Mike Morales, Chase Hooper, Talbott, Pinheiro, Oral Boy, Duncan, Mata, Perez, Parkin, Brito, Johnson, Estevam, Alexander. And yeah, my full card breakdown will be out tomorrow. Really behind these whole new late fights kind of screwed me up this week, but that'll be out tomorrow and then going live Friday and Saturday. As always, best of luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later.